from banned. 100 Thieves, as mentioned previously. On the blue side, Fnatic on the red. The Swain going to be banned away. Don't want to give it to sOAZ. Do not want to give it to Bwipo, Nocturne, and Rakan, the next two banned.
I'm also going to be very interested to see if there is a red side Aatrox ban. Brandini, this guy is very hungry for pro play. He is a grinder, plays a lot of solo queue. Would not be surprised if he had practiced up on that Aatrox, gotten it ready for Rift Rivals. You know, because that is a potential first pick. If Fnatic have to decide, would he pick it if it's open? Do we ban it here? And right now, that's the last final ban that could be coming out. You know, Zoe also is certainly a strong option to look at there. A lot to consider for Fnatic.
Yeah, and HeimerDinger still on the table, of course. We haven't seen a North American team play it, but Fnatic, it's something that Bwipo, he plays a lot of mages and bruisers in the bottom lane.
And of course it was sOAZ who brought it out, surprising a lot of people, lane swapping down to the bottom side of the map and showing the flexibility of Fnatic, similar somewhat to what we see from Echo Fox and how they like to use their players. But Zoe is left up and available, as predicted from you, Azael, one of the power picks still in this tournament, and that means the Aatrox is going over. Who's going to play this, we'll find out, but a power pick to be sure.
Yeah, very likely will be in the top lane. We did see it, in the Asia Rift Rivals, played mid lane twice. I have actually even seen it play jungle. It feels like right now it is strong enough that if you're good at it, you can play it pretty much anywhere you want to go. And from the bans here from Fnatic, it feels like they're more concerned about funnel and these sorts of strategies coming out from 100 Thieves. I'm very interested to see, did 100 Thieves have a pre-planned strategy to deal with Aatrox? You cannot be surprised at this point in the tournament that when it is left up, the other team has taken it. There are counter picks that people are talking about. I feel like Fiora should work very well into it. There is talk of things like Jace and some of those more solo queue style counter picks. And has 100 Thieves prepared that? Because if you just put Brandini on an Ornn or something and send that up against an Aatrox, I'm going to be very disappointed in the pick ban.
Yeah, but you also have to figure out exactly where it's going, so you can't lock in any of those picks incredibly early, because if you pick it and then it's like, oh, well, we have a top laner and we have Fiora, you might have to swap your lanes around. So looks like the Mundo, something that kind of gives a free lane over to it.
And we have to remember, Brandini hasn't had the best performances thus far. Do you really want to put all the pressure on counter-picking with something like Fiora? Giving him something, safe, something stable on the top side of the map may be the best bet, but it has left open a ton of comfort picks. The HeimerDinger now locked in for Fnatic.
And is Mundo safe and stable into Aatrox? I would say it's not. I mean, Deathbringer's stance applies grievous wounds on its own. You don't even need to actually build that Executioner as early. The actual physical spell vamp there for Aatrox is allowing you to heal through most of the Mundo damage, and you can certainly take over in that 1v1. So they may have kind of thrown Brandini to the wolves a bit here, and it's going to be down again, I think, to a Cody Sun marksman-style bot lane, to the 100 Thieves looking for success down there.
Yeah, I think the Mundo for Brandini is more playing to, the way that he got his win on that Mundo up against Splice, where Bwipo, not a marksman player, so up against Fnatic, drafting a Mundo is fantastic because it means they're going to be playing mages. They're going to have a lot of magic damage in the composition, unless Caps is going to be playing the funnel or he's going to be on something like a Yasuo, which they banned.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point, but you have to look at what was the composition in that game, and Splice drafted triple damage, magic damage topside, which is about as easy as it gets for a Mundo to play into. In this game, not only is he facing a heavy physical damage lane opponent in Aatrox, but then you have magic damage and percentage HP from the person who's most likely to gank you, Sejuani, and that already makes it much more difficult to itemize against. If he can survive lane, certainly could be a big factor in the team fights, but we'll have to see if he can get there.
Has been a question mark thus far through the tournament, but while we're talking about the top side of the map, bans are being focused on the bottom side. The Fiddle, the Tahm Kench, the Alistar, all taken off the board. Both teams looking to set up their ideal bot lane. Heimer, all but 100% confirmed to be going into that marksman position. And now the question is, what do they pair with it as we enter the second pick phase?
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 bans essentially on Aphromoo from Fnatic. They could have been going towards, a different person if it was a funnel, but right now, 4 supports banned off the table here. He is going to have to start reaching a little bit deeper into that support pool. There are a lot of picks he could go to. We haven't seen the Pyke coming out from America just yet, but you said no marksman, and I've been lied to.
Bwipo doesn't play marksman, but I know someone who might, and that could be Caps in the mid lane on the Lucian. But we still have to find out. That is the best and worst part about looking at this Fnatic rosters. You never know where anything is going to go, gentlemen.
Yeah, you can actually just swap it up a whole bunch and have the Aatrox mid, Lucian in the bottom lane, and the HeimerDinger top side. So there's a lot you can do here, but what happened was the Yasuo Aurelia bans kind of force you to pick a different physical damage dealer for your composition up against the Mundo. So I like the Fnatic pivot of having the Lucian.
And there is a possibility for flex, but I'm willing to bet that it is Aatrox top, Lucian mid, the farming HeimerDinger bot lane. I think specifically when you look across at the other champions, and we are going to get the first NA Pyke, I said we hadn't seen it yet, but Aphromoo has been spamming this in solo queue. This is his style of playmaking champion. He is a bard god, this guy, and I feel like Pyke is the melee bard. This is the transition there. So I'm very excited to see how well he's going to be able to do into it, but against the Heimer and Morgana, the Black Shield can be very easily used on that Bone Skewer. The turrets can block it as well. It gets very hard to find that playmaking.
Playmaking in the bot lane, but when you look at the mid lane, you have the sleepy Trouble Bubble. Lucian's got a cleanse, but there's a Trundle pillar there. There's hooks, there's follow-up. We might just see 100 Thieves play around Ryu. Not something that we're always used to, and of course, for those wondering, HeimerDinger most likely still going into the bot lane in the hands of sOAZ. Bwipo most likely taking the Aatrox top, but we will see once we get in the game.
And now looking at the compositions, we do have a decent amount of magic resist that would be built on the Mundo, but I'm looking at mostly a poke composition here from 100 Thieves, looking for a bit of pick. And then on the opposite side, it does look like a lot of sieging potential here. The HeimerDinger for sOAZ is what's going to be in store. He'll be playing at bottom most likely, but I like the Ezreal pick into it because you can just shoot the turrets from long range.
Yeah, you definitely can, but HeimerDinger plus Morgana has such an incredible amount of push. You're likely going to have Ezreal and Pyke permanently under their turrets, and can you actually hit that poke from under your turret? Have they, given up lane priority too heavily on the bottom side? That can make it very difficult when you're looking at a potential Aatrox versus Mundo. That's a losing top lane. Your bottom lane is going to be sitting under the turret. Is Zoe going to be that pressure valve 400 Thieves really dominating caps? I don't know. I mean, I think that a lot of these lanes look like losing lanes for the 100 Thieves.
A difficult position to draft themselves in for sure. We're going to see if individual talent can make up the difference, or if there's a greater strategy we haven't seen yet. 100 Thieves versus Fnatic. NA already up 1-0, a must-win for Europe. Make it further.
No faith in Splyce?
I think at this point it's safe to call it a must-win, regardless of how Splyce does. Now, gentlemen, there's a lot of lanes that we're going to want to talk about here. Still waiting to see exactly where everyone's going to unfold. The bot lane has already come up. With likely push pressure going in the favor of Fnatic, can Aphromoo just leave Cody Sun alone under the tower?
I mean, you can as far as kill pressure. I think he could stay safe for quite some time. But Hylissang and sOAZ are going to have a lot of poke, and the real concern is not so much Cody Sun dying, but your turret dying, right? Like, if you give up that push, Cody Sun does not have enough wave clear on this Ezreal to keep his turret safe, to keep that alive. So it's then going to be up to Levi to find ganks. It's going to be up to them for their playmaking, and you can't expect Mundo to have pressure on top side against the Aatrox. So really, comes down to Levi, comes down to Ryu, and the playmaking of Aphromoo.
Yeah, and I want to see what Brandini does up against this Aatrox, because a lot of people don't know or haven't played against really good Aatrox players, and so they get caught off guard, because I am actually under the opinion that Aatrox is the best level 2 in the game right now, because the 3 casts of the Q plus the E, when you rank up the E, you instantly get 2 charges of it, because your charges start at second 0 in the game. So even when you don't have the ability leveled, as soon as you get it, you'll have 2, unless it's your first rank up in the fountain. So having that, you get 5 spell casts, which all reduce the cooldown of your passive, and you get up to 16 seconds off of it. So you're pretty much guaranteed a passive, 3 Qs, and 2 Es at level 2.
AD steroids, knockups, healing, dashes. It seems a bit oppressive.
It's pretty nutty, yeah.
Still a bit of a ways.
This is what we would call on the playtesting. Start reading all the abilities.
Ooh. All the information you need, but an early hook. Gonna be a good look. 100 Thieves and Aphromoo, exactly what he wants. Of course, Black Shield not available yet. Binding gonna stop any of the action from happening, but Gift of the Drowned Ones, nice for Aphromoo to have. It means most of that damage not gonna mean a thing.
Yeah, and it is a pretty big deal if 100 Thieves can get the early push. If they have pressure from the jungle, and you see Hylissang and sOAZ having to sit back and farm out of their turret, a lot of the power is taken out of that lane, and Ezreal can be the aggressor, can poke out his opponents under their turret.
And this also means that Broxah, he had to back off because they didn't have lane priority, and that's going to be Levi getting double scuttle.
Not a position he wanted to be in whatsoever. Could just look to head to the top side, of course, Bwipo without pushing forward. Of course, has the advantage in terms of the 1v1, but can't look to 2v1 at any point this early. And Broxah nowhere in the area. Slowly jungling up to the top side of the map. Levi now set up for the instant run to top side, but you can see Bwipo went from playing incredibly aggressive on that level 2 to sitting back on the level 3.
Yeah, but Levi is trying to get behind him. This is pretty telegraphed, so I think Bwipo is probably fine, but we'll see.
Gotta watch out here. Oh, Deathbringer stance, living up to his name. Bwipo calm-faced. That is not a mistake you can afford.
You really hate to see that happen.
Well,
that is just well played from Bwipo, honestly. Credit to him. I mean, Brandini telegraphed that so incredibly hard. He's running past about 10 minions, a level down on his opponent. You can wait for the Trundle to be the one to start this, for the Trundle to be behind your opponent, but instead he goes forward, gets caught by the Deathbringer stance and the Q knockup plus the Comet. That is the early game burst of the Aatrox, and already things looking bad for Brandini on the top side.
And it's a similar story on the bottom side of the map as well. You can see Aphromoo losing so much health. The power of the poke here from Fnatic outweighing the passive from Pyke. It's a difficult situation to be sure.
Yeah, and when you hit the sweet spot of your Q on Aatrox, it's 4 seconds off your passive. So he got 12 seconds off of it there, was able to just stab the Mundo in the gut. And you can only hold each Q for 3 seconds. So you just have to let Levi walk up, allow him to dance around the pillar, and Bwipo is forced to use his Q at some point, or he just lets it drop off. It's only a 3-second window.
And you're talking about a lot of specific timers here, Zirene. You already mentioned not everyone has experience against this pick. And now the chain CC comes in. Aphromoo. Phantom Undertow takes him out to safety, but that is a difficult spot to be in.
Yeah, and Hylissang even still has his Ignite. So, I mean, there is a lot of kill threat on Aphromoo. If he gets caught by another CC, you saw the Dark Binding into the grenade. That procs all the turret lasers. You can follow up with the rocket for a second round of turret lasers. There's such an immense amount of burst possible there, and the Ignite is still available. So if Aphromoo gets caught once more, he could be going down.
Brandini. Sorry to cut you off. Was looking a little nervous there.
Yeah.
No flash for Bwipo means he gets to live, but not the lane phase that Brandini wants.
It's super scary every time the Aatrox goes in and starts landing those sweet spots, and you really do have to understand his damage output.
And I mean, for how long is he going to get to live? Because Bwipo is going to get to level 6 first. Once you hit that ultimate, you can straight up dive this Mundo. Brandini is out of potions, is very low, has no stopwatch, no level 6. He knows it, so he's going to have to not only go back to base, but sacrifice potentially, you know, a full wave of experience and gold, get even further behind. And the 1v1 does not get better in the game, really, at any point for the Mundo. You know, maybe if you're getting to a ton of armor later, you can start to kind of withstand it, but Aatrox is going to dominate you well into the 2-3 full items completed range.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's actually an okay thing for Brandini to back there. Make sure that he doesn't get destroyed.
Has to.
And he's basically picking the Mundo not for the lane phase, but for later in the game. So trying to get there, he already made one big mistake with dying, but he needs to kind of just remedy that and make sure there's no more mistakes from him. Because Bwipo obviously seems practiced on sOAZ though, no mana, and there's that dive.
Stun not going to connect. Hook not going to go in either. Flash is traded though. Aphromoo hungry to get that one.
Yeah, not too bad. The flash down there on sOAZ means that Levi could certainly make this a target, and even just that trade of flashes may mean Fnatic has to play this more passively, can't push as aggressively for that turret, and it's a bit of respite. They're 400 Thieves, and we'll see if Levi can capitalize on it later on.
One of the big difficulties, gentlemen, is that while mid lane looks relatively even overall, Cap's building a CS lead, but pressure being traded back and forth. Bot lane and top lane clearly in the favor of Fnatic right now, and it's limiting the options for 100 Thieves.
And that's what I was talking about in draft. I mean, these are pretty tough lanes to actually have pressure in ever. Maybe if they got that first blood over onto Bwipo, it could have looked a little bit different, but even had they done that, I still don't think Mundo really has pressure in the 1v1.
No, I don't think he ever really does, and Bwipo will get Executioners, or sorry, not Executioners, Black Cleaver very early, shred whatever armor he does pick up and have pretty low CDR. But something I want to talk about here for the HeimerDinger is because we saw yesterday Hylissang, or sorry, yeah, it was Hjarnan, sorry, H names.
There's a lot of H names.
Yeah, I know. Hjarnan was maxing turrets first. sOAZ is maxing rockets first, and what you do with this is you actually aim the rockets very close in front of you, and then you spread them out so they can't really be dodged. But we'll see.
We're going to see if that's enough damage to take down a Trundle as he starts to move in. Pillar is there. sOAZ, they know that the flash is down. He now has to run for his life. The Ignite is ticking. It's not going to connect on the stun, but Hylissang body blocking means he's just going to die too. Double goes down for Cody Sun. That's the 100 Thieves you want to see.
Yeah, Cody Sun getting both those kills, and Hylissang, that was an optimistic flash at the end. Levi was already behind him. He is so low. That is the kind of relief of pressure the 100 Thieves need. I talked about the playmaking has to be there from Aphromoo, from Levi, from Ryu. Aphromoo forcing the flash out early from sOAZ, and Levi able to capitalize. So 100 Thieves getting another lease on life.
Yeah, and punishing the fact that Fnatic didn't go for deeper wards than what they had there. Because that ward, it's not going to save you when you're in the middle of the lane, and Fnatic were trying to push up to replace their wards. And even though Aphromoo gets hit with the grenade, it doesn't matter. The pillar's doing a majority of the work there.
Also critical, they made this gank happen before sOAZ hit 6. That gank becomes so much harder when Heimer can just drop an RQ, massive turret kind of dealing a ton of damage and kite backwards through it. So definitely a well-timed gank there, but Aphromoo caught out.
This is going to be difficult. Phantom Undertow could just take him out to safety. Needs to make it out, but the Ignite is ticking. Broxah hits him with the ult and takes him down. So Fnatic do get something back.
Yeah, and they can look to pressure the turret off that kill. I mean, that turret is already very low. Cody Sun does not have ultimate, and the pressure is coming in. sOAZ is 6. You can even just drop your ultimate turret, actually, to be able to help knock down that turret if you want.
Yo, Brandini.
Oh, gentlemen, we check on the top side. World Ender. May just be Brandini Ender, but good patience and good use of the Mundo ultimate to make sure he does not drop there.
And Bwipo had to be very careful of the fact that stopwatch was available now. So, recognizing that, sOAZ will get the first turret. They don't even have to commit an ultimate. So nicely done from Fnatic. That one kill gives them the pressure, but no summoners here on the bottom lane.
sOAZ needs to make it out to safety. Turrets are there to body block the hooks. If he has a charge left up and available, it's just going to walk away.
I mean, despite being 2 kills up,
Brandini.
Oh boy.
No ultimate this time.
Stopwatch.
Blocks the third Q. That's going to be important. Deathbringer stance is going to come out here. Not available quite yet. That means Brandini does walk away.
Does survive. I mean, holds onto the flash, trades out the stopwatch for it. Not too bad, but you can farm this wave with cleavers, but you have to be very careful of any potential Q flash or QE reposition into a flash. Like, you can actually get a tremendous amount of extra range on those abilities.
Chain CC immediately. The rocket!
Woo! Shoot the kill!
NA, man. They keep stepping forward to that HeimerDinger. No Tom Kench there to save the day this time. Does take him out.
Very nicely done there from sOAZ and Hylissang. The ultimate rocket coming in, guaranteed by the binding into grenade, and just a nice clean combo there from Fnatic. The pressure that they have on the bottom side, despite Cody Sun having 2 kills, despite the fact that sOAZ went down first, is just immense, and that is just the nature of the matchup. There's not enough wave clear in an Ezreal Pyke lane to really push those guys off your turret unless you have a third member there threatening a kill.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they haven't swapped lanes yet on Fnatic's side, but we're going to see Brandini in the top side getting ganked by Broxah here.
He's there, he's available. Mundo ult still a few seconds off.
Afro's roaming around too, trying to make something happen in a different lane other than the one bottom.
Caps, if he tanks a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, this could be it. Phantom Undertow, where's it going to go? Oh! Uses the cleanse immediately. The hook, he needs to sidestep. Just going to dash out to safety. Good patience from Caps.
Yeah, Aphromoo actually trying to predict a flash there, but Caps, confident in his reaction times, knows he's playing on land, no ping to hurt him there, so he can actually hold the flash until he sees where the hook is coming out. Really well played, I have to say, by both sides.
Yeah, doing it in a reactionary way. Also just had the E to dodge instead of having to flash, but he's still putting pressure in the mid lane here on Aphromoo's side.
Hylissang is here as well. Oh, Black Shield goes down. Only going to be used there to block. Didn't really need to step into it anyway, but it does mean that Caps is safe, and we check in on the gold, gentlemen. Almost a 2K gold lead for Fnatic. Most of that, the tower that they've built for themselves, as well as some of the CS differentials across the lane, mid lane and top lane, definitively in their favor.
Ulti.
Aphromoo is just going to walk out of that. I think no actual follow-up available. They didn't know where the rest of 100 Thieves was, so despite the fact that Caps is in the area, when you have no vision, if Caps dashes in and the whole 100 Thieves squad is there, you just die. So trying to play it safe.
Brandini now running the Umbral Dash, going to use to reposition. World Ender does come out, but Bwipo may just go down here. Flash used to take him to safety. Are they going to keep the chase up? Cody Sun is here.
Well, if they do, it's 12 seconds on the ultimate.
Yeah.
Before it wears off.
And I mean, 100 Thieves, you commit so many members top. sOAZ is still bot. Caps is still pushing mid. You're losing turret pressure across the map, so they're going to have to get someone down to the bot lane, but you're going to take a lot of turret damage before that happens.
Oh, binding.
Binding does connect. Stopwatch immediately canceled out by Caps. He wants a little bit more. The hook does not connect. That's bad news. Caps goes forward. No hesitation. Aphromoo with the Ghost Water dive. Still gets locked up into the tower, but you're going to have to hold that thought because Broxah is in the top lane. Cody Sun now running for his life. sOAZ is here as well, but he's walked face first into a Mundo. Does go golden. The super turret has been laid down. The stun goes on to Brandini. Disaster is striking. Cody Sun, it's all on you. Leaping forward, he gets one. Is he going to pursue for more? Looks like he's just going to back off in the end.
He could continue to stay around here. I mean, sOAZ has no flash, has no ult, has no stopwatch. So if Cody Sun can get up onto him, fighting back well, and Cody Sun, 3 kills on him, he is looking strong, but they are bleeding out across the map. Fnatic is winning these skirmishes, having more lane pressure, and it's feeling really, really good for Fnatic right now.
Oh, and yeah, Cody Sun, with those kills, though, he's looking to still scale. It looks like I would potentially say Trinity Force because they need a decent amount of damage from him. But this was just a really good dive here from Caps and Hylissang. The binding into the culling, which forces the stopwatch. And a good Black Shield to make sure nothing else happens there.
Yeah, exactly. The Black Shield actually really critical. Aphromoo flashing, but still gets tethered up. The binding nailed by Hylissang, and he set that all up. I mean, this is perfectly played by Hylissang. It's a double kill for Caps, but it's Hylissang who set it all up, and here it is. Levi pulled back into the searing chains. Broxah goes in, gets a kill, and you constantly see people not understanding, not respecting the power and the abilities that are coming out here from the Aatrox. It really does feel like kind of a little bit of inexperience from a lot of these guys, and Cody Sun, thankfully, 400 Thieves trades one back.
Yeah, and he flashes there as soon as he gets the chains on him, whereas Levi got pulled back into the turret range. His Cinderhulk pulls aggro again, and that's why it swaps. So he had his flash, uses it after he's got turret aggro again, instead of before.
And those small executional mistakes plaguing 100 Thieves right now, turning against them. They've had some really highlight moments. Aphromoo with the play on the bottom side, Chain ganking that bot lane with Levi. They need to clean it up here because Caps is getting stronger. Blade of the Rune King finished. It's a similar story for sOAZ as he completes the Luden's Echo, and Ezreal slowly working towards that 2-item point. Zoe, not even with the Luden's completed, they're going to need a bit of time to get some items.
They really are. I mean, if 100 Thieves can go into team fights on even-ish gold, they certainly can win, but the gold is not even, and with the Rift Herald going over to Fnatic, this 4K gold lead could very easily become 5. 100 Thieves needs to kind of stop the bleeding, but they have a very poor wave clear, kind of compared to the pushing power of Fnatic, and it becomes very, very tough to actually thin those waves and keep the turrets safe.
Yeah, and it becomes who can answer Bwipo in the side lane, who can actually deal with the HeimerDinger push, and even if you can, you deal with it slower than they're able to push you out, right? Because you're talking about the wave clear, and that means you get to these turrets faster, and you get to make rotations a little bit better. So Fnatic are just in a fantastic spot here to just keep pushing this lead.
I mean, one of the most powerful interactions that Heimer has is that the turret actually prioritizes the cannon above his own turrets, and the turrets do such an incredible amount of damage to those structures. So when a cannon wave comes in, you can drop multiple turrets on that structure and have your little mini turrets knock it down so incredibly quickly.
Oh, no hesitation to dive,
so
pulling
good.
it back. World Ender, Brandini with a good flash out, using the ultimate and buying a bit of time. Good healing comes in from Bwipo though to keep him safe, but that bot lane is looking a little bit grim. However, 100 Thieves are ready to commit more resources. Zoe decides in the end not to go as the top lane siege just continues for Fnatic.
Broxah can look with his ultimate here though. They have to be careful.
There it is.
Aphromoo makes it out with the Phantom Undertow. Good use of the mobility of Pyke.
But still turret damage, right? Every time they push them off, there's damage on that turret.
Trouble with Cody Sun. Oh, any other champion would have gone down there. Lucky for him. He has the Ezreal. He has the safety. The ulti going to help clear the wave as well. So while they may not have the best wave clear, they are going to hold on to this tower for now.
One thing I will actually talk about a little bit here is a small interaction, but sOAZ, he's actually maxing his rockets, and he's using the ultimate on that as...
Goes in, Caps.
Will back off, but yeah, so basically when you ultimate an ability, the damage of the ability scales off of the ultimate rank, not the ability rank. So sOAZ is actually losing damage by using an ultimate rocket when he has put all his skill points into that rocket instead of using an ultimate grenade and a regular max point rocket. So he is not doing the combo optimally and is actually missing out on some DPS, and in a case like that, it could actually potentially be the difference between getting a kill or not. So there's some little things that you can see. Even these guys who are performing very well in the champions have not really mastered, and there's always kind of a next level with a lot of these champions that most people never get to, and someone like Yarnan very likely does know those tricks, and those can be the difference in a game sometimes.
That said, still making great use of the pushing power. Things look good for Fnatic. We talked about it. It's a must-win game for Europe. Fnatic well on their way, not afraid of the pressure now that's on them. 100 Thieves still a potential to come back here, but things are looking a little bit grim. 17 minutes in, big gold lead for Fnatic. But because they've broken down so many towers so early, it does feel like it's hard for them to snowball this much further at this point.
Now they're going to get that Mountain Drake, which will help them actually get those turrets, those tier 2s especially, because they just have better sieging power than 100 Thieves. More wave clear, so they'll be able to actually get to these turrets and start kind of chipping away at them over and over again.
Caps going in on the side after we now running for his life. Sleeping Trundle does connect.
He does have cleanse.
Damage comes in. Nice from Ryu. Gets the Luden's Echo.
And that was through Black Shield with the Ares Shield as well, coming out from Hylissang. So quite a lot of damage. And Ryu, one of the ways they can shut down this siege is getting the poke, is getting that Zoe to be so annoying and allowing Cody Sun and these guys to get time to kind of scale up where they can stabilize. Because, Mundo definitely is getting closer to that point, but you can see Bwipo is still bullying him, does still have lane pressure and even potentially kill pressure.
And he finally killed him. At this point, Fnatic really struggling to clear the wave. sOAZ easy to set up for the siege, but Zoe is just raining hell on this Fnatic lineup.
Yeah, because it's a 3v4, and they have these two people in the side lanes. You see Bwipo and Caps, the solo laners, are actually on either side of the map pushing waves and then collapsing and threatening a collapse onto 100 Thieves. So Fnatic's kind of forced to play safe.
Backing off. Right now it feels like Ryu cannot miss a Sleepy Trouble bubble.
Definitely doing a good job there, but he is significantly behind Caps. I mean, he's down 40-50 CS. He's down, well, now 1 level, about 1.5 levels to Caps, who has been building this advantage for him and really is going to be a big carry threat in these late game team fights. He has a lot of threats in front of him. He has the front line. He has Engage, and Caps is going to have a lot of opportunities, I think, to be very, very successful coming into the mid game. As he hits his 2 items, he's going to be the most powerful person on the map.
Yeah, it's not a funnel at all, but he still has more than 10 CS per minute here for Caps. And he's about 1,700 gold ahead of Ryu. It's the largest advantage that's on the map right now.
It's a good look for Caps. Definitely the performance European fans wanted to see from the Fnatic mid laner. But if you're 100 Thieves, what are your avenues right now? What are you looking at to come back into this game?
I mean, honestly, you're just trying to stabilize. You're trying to get it to a point where Mundo can farm comfortably against this Aatrox, where the Aatrox can't look to kill you anymore, and you try to keep the gold lead the same. If the gold lead is the same in 10 minutes, the gold lead does not mean nearly as much, and you can get to those points where the Ezreal can be, hitting his power points, where Mundo can be a team fight threat and not just get burst down, and it's going to take a lot of playing.
Yeah, and once you hit that point, playing around the Baron is one of 100 Thieves as a team. It's one of their biggest strengths with the shock walling from Aphromoo and how they set it up. It's all about denying the vision, and they have a lot of pick potential on this composition, a lot of single target damage too. So it comes down to denying the vision and then getting that single target damage off.
Might be a bit difficult. As you can see, lots of damage goes in onto Ryu as he tries to get a bit of poke down. Bwipo continues to dominate on the side lanes. Thieves, though, not hesitating to poke back, not hesitating to try to find a weakness in the armor of Fnatic. Oh, might just be Broxah. He's going to lead back to safety. Pyke ready to go forward. Hook, though, right into the Black Shield.
Yeah, Hylissang has been on point, but here it is. Bwipo again, putting that pressure onto Brandini. Brandini has to be careful. I mean, this is a 3rd Q coming up, and there isn't executioners there, so at times it's smarter to actually just end the trade, back off, and allow that healing debuff to fall so you can get the full heal from your ultimate before you go back in.
Still playing around with it, learning more of the match as he goes through the game.
He was trying to pull it over the wall so it wouldn't be smite stolen away from Broxah, and so it resets there. They will have Levi in just a second, though. And I actually think it's a faster reinforce from 100 Thieves. Yeah.
Well, landing the Sleepy Trouble bubble means that they are going to be able to get it in the end, but maybe a little bit more conflict than they wanted. Do 50% Caps. Puts them in a decent position right now. Baron just spawning, Fnatic laying down vision of their own. Just a bit of a weird exchange, though, around the blue buff.
Yeah, I think in the end it actually did work out pretty well for Aphromoo. Yes, it did reset and it looks a little bit funny, but it buys enough time for the rest of 100 Thieves to come over to support, to make sure they get that blue buff onto Ryu, because the poke is what is buying them time. You want to have Ryu with unlimited mana, spamming out the Q, spamming out this poke, and pushing Fnatic back, because that is what is stopping them from sieging. Him and Cody Sun, every time they hit an ability, it slows the game down for Fnatic. It makes them hesitate. It makes them, have to wait just that bit much longer.
And that 2-item spike coming in for Cody Sun. It's been there for a few minutes now, but he is quite strong when you look relative to his opposition across the map. You saw a single Q taking about a 40% of Hylissang's health as he tried to go for the re-Q, or the recall. So it looks pretty good right now for 100 Thieves.
I'm going to be really interested to see if Cody Sun goes double tier here, or if he's going to go for a faster power spike with the 3rd Blade of the Rune King item. And it is going to be another tier. So this is, more of a scaling strategy. And it's, again, more all in on the poke. If you can get this Seraphs built up, get that additional CDR, you're sitting on 40%, you're going to have so much mana. And him and Ryu are just going to be poking and poking and poking and not trying to ever commit to a full fight.
Yeah, and for 100 Thieves, stylistically, that makes a lot of sense. They've always been a later game team, even back when they were in playoffs and playing against Clutch Gaming, right? It's trying to drag the game to the late game where they can play around the Baron and play around these kind of poke or vision denial strategies that really do favor them. But for Fnatic, it's trying to force these fights with Broxah, trying to force these fights, these bindings, trying to make something happen so that you don't have to just keep getting poked down over and over again.
It's been a difficult couple of minutes for them. Could be a difficult moment for Caps. Uses the culling just to dissuade any aggression. Broxah hesitating there. Doesn't want to throw out the ulti. Knows there's no follow-up. So for now, 100 Thieves get to continue to farm. The gold lead hasn't been growing anymore for Fnatic. And 100 Thieves happy with the exchange. Fnatic still with the lead. Bwipo still very comfortable in that 1v1. But all is not lost yet. Well, CC chain. Black Shield still there. Is going to last long enough to stop the Bone Skewer from connecting.
One of the troubles here, though, 400 Thieves, is they don't have anyone who can actually 1v1 answer Caps in a side lane. So they're putting this 4-man poke squad mid. Every once in a while, they send Ryu back over to collect the farm in the side lane, but Caps is slowly chipping away. Bwipo, while he is not now threatening to kill Brandini, Brandini is still the one kind of under pressure, and Caps is 2 levels up on Ryu, 2 levels up on Cody Sun. None of those guys want to go side lane and risk a solo kill, so it gets very, very tough for them to hold on there, and they're going to have to really be very smart about where they allocate their resources and where they commit to fights.
Yeah, Fnatic can really run them around the map because I don't think anybody can really duel both Bwipo or Caps. Yep. So the 1v1 becomes very difficult. I guess the question would be, can Caps actually 1v1 Brandini in the Mundo? Because that champion, you never know its damage output until you actually get in a fight with him.
I mean, I think it's one of those cases where Brandini can, at this point, if he plays safe, he can hold those champions, but he is still going to be down on pressure. He's never going to win, I think, the extended fight. And there's not, as you pointed out, Zirene, really a good answer to the other solo laner who's going to be on the other side of the map for Fnatic, trying to create this spread pressure. And Fnatic slowly but surely is building their gold lead. They want to reach this kind of crescendo where it's maybe a 3-item power spike, where they say, okay, we're the most strong we can be with this gold. We are the furthest ahead of our opponents we will get, and then they choose a fight. They force a Baron, and they look that to be the killing blow.
Well, they're not forcing Baron now. They're being diligent about setting up the vision. Broxah doing what he can to clear it out. The Scuttlecraft guarantees 100 Thieves at least a small time period where they keep going. But we check in on the bottom side. Aatrox, of course, with the Death Stance. This is a disgusting amount of healing. Even Mundo is jealous at this point in the game. CP Truck Bowls keep connecting, but the follow-up just is not there right now for 100 Thieves. Fnatic, though, still giving it the respect it deserves, not overextending. Once Skiller comes out, he's going to connect on the Caps. Quite long enough range.
I mean, 100 Thieves, though, they're not looking to follow up and try to commit to kills. All they're really trying to do is delay, delay, delay. This is the strategy. This will continue to be the strategy. Keep pushing out, keep pushing out mid lane enough so that Fnatic doesn't have easy access to rush a Baron. And just poke, just wave clear. You have double tier. You're putting all the blue buffs onto Ryu here with Luden's Echo, and you're just trying to make the game go as long as possible to wait to the point where you could potentially commit to those fights.
Because there's always that thing where it's like, Lucian, he wasn't really played in solo lanes a whole bunch because he doesn't scale incredibly well into the late game, right? Or even the Aatrox, a lot of people complain about how navigating team fights in the late game is so hard to do.
Yeah.
It's the early parts of the game that he's so oppressive. So trying to get to the point where the Mundo becomes this beef ball monster that just runs over fights, and then Levi can do a whole lot in terms of shredding people and adding to the durability as the people in the back, like the Cody Sun double tier build, come online.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a really good point. Speaking of the Aatrox, I feel the strongest point in the game for Aatrox against the tank is actually right now. When you have Executioners, you have your 30% CDR there as well. You can actually go for the 40% CDR from Runes. You can spam it out. You have the armor shred. You have the healing debuff. You have the sustain from your Death Dance, and that's about as good as it gets in the 1v1.
I believe Ryu got that still. Oh, wait. No.
It's just expired. So sOAZ actually got it with the ult grenade. Nicely done. And that could actually be a big deal. I mean, it looks like a little thing, but if Ryu is running out of mana, that could give Fnatic enough pressure to actually go over to the Baron and potentially, take that away, potentially force that big crescendo, that big engagement that they're looking for.
Yeah, it looks like Ryu has a blue buff on him, but it's just a visual bug there. Now, like you said, he's forced to go back because he doesn't have it. He can't stay around, and that's the crack in the armor.
And this is the Baron we were talking about, gentlemen. 9K and dropping. Aphromoo, vision in the pit, lays down the control ward just to make sure the team can see everything. Brandini is TPing in. They're on the way. Zoe here as well. Aphromoo, though, leaping out with the Phantom Undertow, getting lower and lower. Levi could go for the Smite Steal here. The turrets are keeping it leashed. This might not be good. World Ender comes out. Bwipo trying to make his way into the middle of the team. Ryu going to get connected there. Has to make it out. Flash immediately. Aphromoo running for his life. Bwipo! The damage there. The Darkened Blade just cutting down Pyke.
They do get the Pyke kill, and Aphromoo, not respecting perhaps that third Q damage. Bwipo goes for the Q flash to finish him off. 100 Thieves still have all their carries alive, though, and that is a no flash, no ultimate Aatrox who's going to be weaker in the team fight, and they're getting low to the Baron. They have to be careful about this.
Caps on the side.
Exactly. Caps is on the sideline.
Ryu!
Poke. Bwipo down immediately. That could be the turn for 100 Thieves. Ryu, no hesitation to move forward. That's a sleepy Sejuani. Can they get the follow? Doesn't quite connect. There's the Culling. Caps needs to get one, but Ryu is popping off in this fight. The Binding tries to buy a bit of time. Caps the Black Shield. Disengaged from Levi. A little questionable, but now Hylissang going down the side. Hylissang? The Binding does connect, but he needs to run. He needs to get out of there. The slow has now faded. Absolute chaos in the pit.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves, I don't know if they're going to do it, but they could have potentially started the Baron there instead. Just going to say, okay, we push them off. We take our small victory. go back to base. Could have been a lot more kills from there, but yeah, Fnatic getting very low to the Baron. You know, the poke coming in from Ryu, from Cody Sun, in addition to that Baron damage, is more than enough to really get them off. And you have to remember, Bwipo has no ult, has no flash. They group up on the side, and Ryu says, yep, that's me, goes in, finds the poke, gets a kill.
Yeah, throws the Ignite down too, and gets a flash from earlier in the fight. So he gets to use that to land the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, which gets Broxah killed there.
And really just an awkward fight when you look at it. sOAZ drops the Empowered Tower early, but 100 Thieves are out of that range pretty quickly. It's hitting tanks. There's not really any follow-up CC. Fnatic not starting the fight on their terms, and really it just becomes pretty awkward pretty quickly for the Fnatic lineup.
Trying to rush this, though.
No hesitation. Classic Fnatic immediately going back in. A little bit of vision will spot it out. Brandini on the bot side with no TP.
Ryu's not there either.
Could be a disastrous call. Aphromoo going forward. Bwipo in the middle of everything. Going to try to back off. Black Shield gets him out. Baron is going to fall. That one in the favor of Fnatic.
Very well done there by Fnatic, but you have to question the decision from Brandini running all the way bot, almost to that bot turret without TP, knowing that TP is available for Bwipo, for sOAZ, that Fnatic has the potential to rush down this Baron with the Heimer turrets so easily. So definitely a big crack in the armor there, and maybe the one that Fnatic needs to actually finally get through this poke, get through this wave clear, and get to those turrets.
Yeah, and it's interesting to consider, too, because before the replay, we saw Aphromoo was clearing wards out in the river, and that he would have been able to place further wards that would have been able to spot Fnatic going for an attempt like that, but it just seems like they went for shallow vision, didn't want to actually face check, even though they won the fight. And you can't blame them too much for it, but it's something that they don't have control of the Baron area, and it bites them because now Fnatic have a very solid foothold in the game. Because remember, we talked about wave clear over and over again. Baron just makes it so that when you don't have wave clear, it's even more of a sore thumb.
Yeah, and when you have that 1-3-1 that you can actually run, you know, splitting up that wave clear becomes so difficult. Mundo can clear out the minions that are not empowered fairly easily, but when you add in those Baron empowered minions, he doesn't have the damage to really quickly punch through those. It can become very, very tough for him. You can put caps up in a side lane, and we'll see how Fnatic is going to be able to execute on this. Certainly the potential to really get a big gold lead here.
If they play safe, they ward their flanks, they can't just keep pressuring in, and of course, you gotta respect the HeimerDinger Morgana. When you are locked up under a tower, if you get hit by any kind of CC, things can go from bad to worse. That's a Sleepy Caps, though. Not gonna kick off much more, though, as there's no follow-up. Oh, Virgins comes out. Big chunk of damage onto Broxah, but Bwipo is continuing to push in on the bottom side. 100 Thieves, if they want to go for a fight, they need to go now. In the meantime, they will lose a bottom tier 2 tower. If Bwipo is left uncontested, it looks like it will be the case. One falls for Fnatic.
Yeah, just not the wave clear in the kit for Mundo to actually contest both the Aatrox and that minion wave. So it's going to get tough for him. He's going to need to call someone else down here. And 100 Thieves is going to be potentially put in the situation where they have to go for a hard engage, because that may be their only chance at really stopping those turrets from falling down.
When you look at the options on their team, that means there's a lot more pressure on Ryu, a member who's already been performing, and Aphromoo as well on this Pyke to be the big playmaker, to find one of those vulnerable Fnatic members. We talked about the Morgana man. It's so difficult for him to find those opportunities.
Yeah, it is very difficult for him. He does have Twin Shadows to maybe help him get some of those picks, but also something I want to bring up is Caps now is Flame Horizon Ryu. He's 3 levels up right now on this Lucian, and he's just done an incredible job in this game of navigating these fights just like that.
No hesitation. Luckily for Aphromoo, Phantom Undertow, pretty low cooldown, going to take him out to safety every time, but it does mean that Fnatic are going to be able to grab this tier 2 tower completely uncontested. 100 Thieves not choosing to go for the fight there, playing it safe, just not looking to give up an inhibitor.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more of the same here from 100 Thieves. They're just trying to delay. Yes, they are, you know, further behind, and Fnatic has kind of increased that lead, but I would say this gold lead is comparable at this time in the game to the 4K that they had at about, you know, 15, 18 minutes. So 100 Thieves are saying, yep, all right, we made a mistake. Fnatic got another advantage. Well, you didn't crack the base. Now we'll wait till next Baron. We'll wait till we have those next set of items, and we'll try again. And 100 Thieves playing this out very, very patiently. Seriously wants to win this game. You can tell how much they really want to get the 2-0 advantage for North America, and also to prove their own strength. I mean, their only win has been above Splice. They want to be able to take down Fnatic, show that they are an international threat as this new squad, as this new team that has broken onto the scene and made it straight to the NA Finals in their first appearance.
It's a lot of pressure to put on themselves. I mean, if they can do it, you're looking down the barrel of a 3-0 on the side of Europe for Fnatic. A lot of times you'd say they're used to playing under this kind of pressure, but this hasn't been the cleanest season for them. They've been finding their footing, trying to find their way. In this game, looking good so far, but you have to close it out. You have to make it look clean to finish.
Yeah, the meta's kind of been strange for Fnatic, but Brandini actually going to go after Bwipo, and Aphromoo's right there too.
They're starting to take a lot of damage here. Brandini going to get pulled back. It's a sustained battle, so they're going to struggle to finish a kill immediately. And Aphromoo really debating what to do, but he's spotted out by Vision. Fight in the mid lane. Broxah not going to connect. Cody Sun, though, locked up, slowed down for now. Hylissang moving forward. He's just going to get deleted immediately. No, buys a bit of time with the Zonya's Hourglass. Caps is here in the middle of everybody. He wants to get a little bit more. Cody Sun now making it out. Bwipo with the World Ender. He wants to look for the revive. Brandini on the front lines. Aatrox, will they kill him before he gets out? Double kill dropping. Missed time to the side of Fnatic. Beautiful play from under Thieves to keep the going. Ryu! The damage coming in from Zoe. The delete button all but ready. Where's that paddle going to go? Is he going to get it? Can't land it in the end. sOAZ and Caps are still alive. They could potentially turn this one, but they have to play safe. This is a massive win for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, 100 Thieves cutting that out so well, and Cody Sun really has been the hero for this game, finding those Mystic shots in between multiple members, taking out both those kills. They're going to get the mid lane turret. They can potentially push for another as Mundo will Warmogs up, but again, discretion here from 100 Thieves. They're saying, stick to the game plan. No over-aggression. Back to base once more.
Yeah, and they missed two big ultimates here. The grenade bounces do slow, but they missed the Sejuani ultimate as well. So now it becomes a sloppy engage. They don't have hard engage here. And then Hylissang goes too far forward. Caps commits, but Bwipo, he used the Aatrox ultimate for the out-of-combat movement speed to get him into the fight, and then it wears off right then.
Yeah, the perfect timing. Cody Sun waiting that one out. The first time we've actually seen people play around the expiration of that ultimate here at Rift Rivals, and it pays off pretty big time. Ryu picking up the flashes, continuing the chase. 100 Thieves, they get the kills, they get the mid lane turret. They are completing such big items now, and they're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Mundo is at a point where he is level 18 now. The advantage there is not so significant. Cap still has a large edge, but is that going to be enough?
Yeah, and also, Cody Sun, he has his second tier fully stacked, so as soon as he has the gold for the Archangel staff, it'll be the Seraph's Embrace right on point.
I do really like the choice, though, to actually go back for that QSS first. He knows if he gets picked off, that is probably the game ending for him, so can't risk losing to one Sejuani ultimate, one Dark Binding, and
he even went for Blade of the Ruined King in the middle, too, so it wasn't just a straight buy.
no one is matching Aatrox here in the bottom, though. They've got to be careful about the split push from Bwipo and making sure that their lane assignments are on point.
And Caps is there, too, so this is a very fast push on the turret if they leave it alone, because this Lucian does so much to it.
Baron up in 30 seconds, though. Fnatic members go down here. Baron could just drop one tower. Is he going to go down? Bwipo ready to give up his life for it. Not going to drop in the end. The minion not quite going to kill it. World Ender has been used. He may not get the revive passive. This may just be the rinse and repeat. He needs to get out of there. The ulti will start to fall off now, and Fnatic tower damage for sure, but giving up a lot of major cooldowns.
Yeah, I mean, that ult being down for Aatrox in the late game, your team fight is pretty worthless without your ultimate. You have to be very careful about 100 Thieves trying to then force a fight around Baron. So it's going to be up to Fnatic to delay at this point of the game. They want to spread the map. You can see 100 Thieves is trying to move to the Baron, but Fnatic will continue to pressure on the bottom side. Yeah, they don't want that fight.
Oh, for more. Brandini. Big meat shield, but just cannot stop Caps from hitting the tower there, so that is going to be an exposed inhibitor, but the inhibitor not down yet, and the rest of Fnatic still trying to control the Baron area here. 100 Thieves not certain what their next move is.
And that's so interesting, because 100 Thieves, they have Cody Sun with teleport. There's no TP on somebody like Caps. So even if you put Cody Sun and you 2v2 bottom side, it also means that you have an advantage in terms of globals, because Caps, he's just running the cleanse. He's making sure that he doesn't get picked up by any bubbles. He wouldn't have that global to actually match.
The question is just, though, is the three-man squad then from 100 Thieves that would be matching strong enough to really fight? And, you know, if the Sejuani ultimate hits, can those TPs come in time? And that's always going to be the worry. You know, with the split push, can you get back to the team if a hard engage comes? And Fnatic, honestly, has more of that hard engage with the potential Sejuani ultimate or flash binding, the ult grenade from Heimer.
And so far, it has been Fnatic getting out-executed, trying to start fights, missing initial CC, and 100 Thieves being the team to turn it around immediately when they see those opportunities.
To be fair, though, Fnatic is still significantly in the gold lead. They're the ones in the driver's seat. The inhibitor turret has been knocked down for them, and you know, they are the ones who are really one fight away from winning this game through bot lane.
Exactly. I was about to say, you only need one to actually end the game here as Fnatic, whereas for 100 Thieves, you need about 2 things to go right for you and 1 thing to go wrong.
For the binding! Binding, Cody Sun trying to make his way out. Ryu is going to go down immediately. The shutdown, this could be the fight. Bwipo in the middle of everybody. World Ender, and he's looking to end 100 Thieves. Bring back the hope for Europe. trying to turn this fight. Confidence as the double kill drops for Caps, keeping the fight going. They're looking to make one more. 3 down, the mid lane ready. Where are Fnatic going to go? Baron in their sights.
I know, it looks like they might try to just push down for the inhibitors because they could get 2 inhibs, mid and bottom here.
They could actually potentially just end it if they tank up the turrets, keep those minions alive. They have Heimer turrets here as well, and I mean, they're so long on Cody Sun, still an additional 30 seconds. We'll see if they want to go for this. I think they're going to go for the throat. They're not going for that second inhibitor.
Creep wave knocks down sOAZ and the rest of Fnatic pushing in.
Aphromoo
Aphromoo trying to buy a bit of time. Phantom Undertow comes out, but he's going to get deleted in an instant. Can't even complete the death from a blow for a little bit of damage. Europe striking back here in the final best of 5. Fnatic taking down 100 Thieves.
And that makes it 1-1, as we will have Team Liquid versus Splyce next.
Very tense game. I mean, Fnatic with the advantage whole way through, but 100 Thieves playing strong defense, staying alive for a long time, but you know, in that final fight, despite the Morgana binding missing, despite the Sejuani ult missing, they catch Ryu, they take him out, and Cody Sun goes down without using the flash to the Aatrox. You know, that is a critical mistake. You know, he played a very, very strong game, but when you are the one with all the gold, when you are the one dealing all the damage, you cannot afford to be dying to an Aatrox without using your summoner spells.
Well, it looked like that moment where the game had just been so touch and go for so long that when Fnatic pulled the trigger, they were not ready for that amount of engage because it's actually just overwhelming. All those things that missed that you talked about, Azael, and even like the flash from Morgana going a little bit short. You just need one thing to land to get those kills and to section off Ryu as well.
And up until that point, 100 Thieves had dodged multiple engages. Things look good, but you're right. When you're the team in a lead, you can make some mistakes. You can lose some fights, but when you're behind like 100 Thieves, even if you block, you know, 5 out of 6 engages, when the 6th one connects, the game just ends.
And credit to Fnatic, you know, building those gold advantages. You know, when you look at how ahead Caps was, I mean, he was basically 6,000 gold ahead of Ryu by the end of the game, and a lot of that is because of the side lane advantages. He's in the side lane, farming it up, and really was able to execute in that final fight.
Absolutely was, but to get some player insight on that victory, let's throw it back to Avli with Fnatic's Furious Boar Rider.
Thanks, guys. Broxah, congratulations on that win. I want to ask you, why was Fnatic chosen to play against 100 Thieves today?
Well, we figured that we match 100 Thieves pretty well since they usually play standard, and we have shown in the past that we're not always the greatest team playing against Gold Funnel, which was likely for Echofox to play. So we figured that, okay, we play against 100 Thieves, they're going to play standard, so we're going to match up pretty well against them. And that was kind of the thought behind it. And it worked out, so that was nice.
And in the game before you, we did see Echofox take down G2. What was it like seeing an NA team take them down?
Well, obviously, we came into this game with a little bit of pressure since G2 actually lost to Echofox. And next up, we have Splyce against Liquid, going up against the toughest NA team. So we knew that we would have to win this one to come home with a victory. Obviously, we could still make it happen, but it would be a little too risky. So we're happy we made it.
Well, the pressure is on Splyce now. Broxah, thank you. And for more on the game, let's hear from the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Things are heating up. Now 1-1 between the two regions here. Fnatic taking a game over 100 Thieves. Didn't come easy, though, for them. I want to take a look at the comps as they were drafted by the teams here leading into it. We had some expectations for 100 Thieves, perhaps protecting Brandini in the top lane. But interestingly enough, that Aatrox goes through, that bully.
I think it's the kind of thing where if you look at the 100 Thieves comp in a vacuum, you're like, oh, this is really great. You have Poke out, like just tons of it with the Mundo. You have Ezreal, you have the Zoe pick, you have Trundle, which is one of the best frontliners for a Poke team comp. You have Pyke randomly in there, but that can fish for hooks too if everyone's under turret. Like, it makes a lot of sense in some ways, and then you see what they have on the side of Fnatic, and it doesn't work out at all.
Well, mainly because laning phase just went so heavily in Fnatic's favor. The Aatrox, of course, we have already seen Aatrox destroy every single lane he's ever been put in. He even got first blood in this game. In the bottom lane, the HeimerDinger has done very well for Europe in the laning phase, and the first pick, Zoe, got destroyed in lane by a counter pick, Lucian. So yeah, you can have all the Poke in the world, but Fnatic had superior lanes all around.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing. I feel like if that laning phase goes even close to even, and they're not getting out-pressured in all 3 lanes, which didn't need to happen. Like, Zoe, with the right amount of jungle pressure and the right execution, can actually win that lane phase, but it wasn't close, Caps versus Ryu. And that dictated a lot of the early game for Fnatic.
Right, put 100 Thieves in such a hole that it was, really took a stalled out game for them to even have kind of an even or what looked like an even matchup. Let's take a look at how that hole developed. A 12-minute fight for Fnatic across the map, ending in 4-for-1.
I think you just say a lot of the times it was Fnatic out executing the side of 100 Thieves. Here, the hook misses, even on the Black Shield target. They go over the E, he's dead. Now Aphro's going to get late flash away from the stun, so that's going to land into a binding, which also hits. So they get these 2 kills in the mid lane.
And even look at the way that play started. Ryu shorted his Q onto the minion ring. He was already missing his skill shot to begin with here as well. Bwipo actually has very good command over Aatrox. A lot of 100 Thieves struggled to get out of his cages throughout the entire game, and this turned into a 4-for-1 cross match.
People need to learn to flash earlier. Like, before you get chained down, you can flash, and you will not get CC'd, and you will not die. Like we just saw here, you could have defended a mid lane turret, you could probably have backed away from the top side, not end up giving more kills to Fnatic, and that's kind of the thing we just kept talking about. You mentioned it briefly before here. Like, mechanically, Fnatic just seemed to be a step above, at least for the first 25 minutes of this game, which gave the big goal lead, even though the draft actually struggled to then close out the game.
Right, then we get to the portion of the game, though, where things stalled out. 100 Thieves able to defend against the Baron at 28 minutes. Jack, keep themselves in it.
And this is where the hope started to grow back for 100 Thieves a little bit. Caps was actually doing red buff, while Fnatic was aggroing the Baron, and the poke comp still exists, even without Pyke. So Bwipo gets completely blown up, and actually, I think some missed execution by 100 Thieves down the stretch right here that prevented them from getting the kill. Ryu using all of his blinks to kill a Sejuani who was already dead.
Blast cone.
And then a flash auto on a blast cone that nearly puts Hylissang running back towards them. He was trying to snipe a kill onto Levi and nearly killed himself. This was, it turned a little bit goofy at this point, but it was making you think, wow, like 100 Thieves could actually win this thing. And 100 Thieves win these things, then TL's going to win Splice, and we could have a 3-0, but it's not what
Yeah, they ended up all recalling, and Fnatic just goes right back to the Baron, takes it for free after like such hard work. It's like, oh.
Yeah. That was 1 minute of complete fiesta.
Yeah,
like
well,
from
without a
Cass
doubt.
leaving the Baron to go red buff, and then Levi, I don't even know what happened.
But still, things look close until the final fight of the game, where both carries for 100 Thieves get caught out by the Fnatic squad.
And it's actually Hylissang with Broxah who's trying to start the fight, and the big thing is Rio has no flash and ends up going to the side, so he gets caught in the end. Cody Sun did not use flash, so he also ended up dying in the fight. And Fnatic has struggled forcing the team fight. I don't think Broxah Sejuani was very good, and he missed a lot of different ultis where he could have set something up with the team. And in the end, I think Hylissang just got tired of it. He's like, flash forward, try to bind, then follow up from the HeimerDinger with the grenade, and because Rio has no flash, they actually kill him.
Right.
But it took them a long time, because like at 20 minutes, they already had a very, very large goal lead and should have been able to just kind of close it out quickly. It took them almost 40 minutes.
Yep, but the win does come through for EU, which brings us at 1-1. And Jat, we do know our third matchup of the day, Team Liquid versus Splice. We say that this is an expected win for TL, but we also said that about the G2 Echo Fox matchup in Game 1.
We know anything could happen, but this is also, Echo Fox is a 4-win team in North America, Splice is a 2-win team in Europe, so the lower seed means more coming from them. And thinking about the tournament overall, right? Echo Fox doesn't have, or sorry, 100 Thieves doesn't have to play again.
Right.
And I'm actually happy about that as an NA fan. Like this team, they're the worst of the 3 teams performing here. That's easy to say. Brandini and Levi haven't actually looked that good. Ryu wasn't looking that good in the mid lane. If they were going to steal a victory, it was because Fnatic was going to throw at Baron. So Echo Fox looked really good today. Team Liquid's looked very strong, and they just have to win 2 of the next 3, and NA wins all of Rift Rivals.
Well, and what's also really impressive too is like I think that 100 Thieves showed that Fnatic struggles to close games out, which is good for Team Liquid. But if you put Echo Fox versus Fnatic, that's going to be just an explosion of early game action.
And it's going to be blind.
It's blind. So you're just hoping as an NA fan that Team Liquid, if they beat Splice, will then go up against Fnatic, and then you hope to get a run back of Echo Fox versus G2.
And you smelled the upset at the start of the day, Mark. That's why we both predicted North America. Do you still, because as soon as you feel comfortable as a North American fan, that's when Splice upsets TL.
I think what will happen, I don't smell any more upsets, so I think we'll get the 2-1 NA into the blind pick phase, and that's where things will really probably come down to matchups, I think.
2-1 NA, EU will pick Fnatic for Game 4. They will win again. G2 comes in for Game 5. G2 wins 3-2 Europe.
So,
calling it right now.
I mean, it's such a mind game, right? Because if we're listening to this logic, you would, the NA teams could go down that same rabbit hole and say, all right, then let's flip the script and let's go ahead and put our 1 seed in the 4th game.
that would be a problem.
Expecting Europe to hold their best team in G2 till the 5th game, right? If they want those same matchups. But it really is a flip of the coin at that point, and it comes down to execution. We're hoping we get there. We step away for a quick break. When we return, it's Europe's Splyce versus North America's Team Liquid. The Rift Rival final continues after the break.